Have you ever taken a pill for a headache? Or maybe a vitamin to start your day? Think about it, that little tablet is packed with powerful stuff called medicine. But for that medicine to work, your body has to be able to use it. That's where size reduction comes in. It's science. Size reduction is just a fancy way of saying we're making big pieces of stuff much smaller. Imagine trying to dissolve a giant sugar cube in your iced tea versus a spoonful of fine sugar. The fine sugar dissolves way faster, right? It's the same idea with medicine. We need to break down the active ingredients into tiny particles. This process is super important in the world of pharmaceuticals. When drug particles are smaller, they have a larger surface area. Consider this. If you have one big block, it only has 6 sides. But if you break that block into 100 tiny cubes, you suddenly have 600 sides exposed to the world. This increased surface area helps the medicine dissolve more quickly in your body, whether it's in your stomach or your bloodstream. Faster dissolving often means the medicine can get to work faster, helping you feel better sooner. Now, when scientists break things down, they don't just smash them randomly. There are rules. Or, in the world of physics, we call them laws. These laws tell us how much energy is needed to reduce particle size. First up, Ridinger's law. It's all about surface area. Energy is proportional to the new surface area created. Every break makes 2 new surfaces. Ridinger is most accurate for very fine powders. Next, Kick's law. Energy is proportional to the ratio of initial size to final size. Best for coarse, large materials. Think boulder to slightly smaller rocks. In between, Bond's law. The compromise between Ridinger and Kick. Work is proportional to the square root of surface to volume ratio. Practical for many industrial grinding sizes, used to estimate power for mills and crushers. These laws aren't just abstract, they are the blueprints for better, more efficient machines. So we know we need to make particles smaller, and we have laws to help us figure out the energy needed. But how do we actually do it? What are the physical actions that cause a big particle to become a small one? In the world of size reduction, we use 4 main methods or mechanisms. The first and most straightforward one is impact. This is exactly what it sounds like. A particle is hit by a fast-moving object, or it's thrown against a stationary surface at high speed. The sudden, sharp force causes the material to shatter. The second mechanism is called compression. Imagine putting a nut in a nutcracker. In industrial mills, this is done by 2 surfaces moving towards each other or by a roller pressing down on the material. Next, we have attrition. It happens when particles rub against each other or against a hard surface. This friction wears down the surfaces of the particles, gradually making them smaller and often more rounded. Finally, there's shear, which is also sometimes called cutting or cleavage. This mechanism involves a cutting or trimming action, like using a pair of scissors. In a mill, a part of the machine will move past a sharp edge, chopping the material into smaller pieces. These 4 mechanisms are the fundamental actions used in all kinds of size reduction equipment. Now let's talk about a real star of the size reduction world, the hammer mill. It's honestly one of the most common and versatile pieces of equipment used in the pharmaceutical industry. Well, imagine a powerful blender, but instead of small blades for making smoothies, it has a series of hammers that spin around at incredibly high speeds. The whole setup is enclosed within a sturdy metal casing. The basic idea is simple, but incredibly effective. The heart of the hammer mill is a central rotor. This is a spinning shaft that has a series of hammers attached to it. They are usually heavy, bar-shaped pieces of hardened steel. More commonly, they are hinged or pivoted, so they can swing freely. Surrounding this entire spinning assembly is a tough outer casing or chamber, and at the bottom of this chamber is a screen or a metal plate with holes in it, which acts like a sieve. Raw material like coarse drug crystals is fed into the mill through a hopper at the top. The material is shattered by repeated lightning-fast impacts from these hammers. The material keeps getting smashed and bashed until the particles are small enough to pass through the holes in the screen. The finely milled powder then exits the mill through an outlet and is collected. It's a continuous, dynamic, and highly controllable process. The hammer mill is a true workhorse in pharmaceutical engineering, used for a huge variety of tasks. Its primary job, of course, is the dry granulation or milling of active pharmaceutical ingredients, APIs and excipients. Excipients are the other things in a pill, like binders and fillers that help hold it all together. Another key use is in what's called size reclamation. Sometimes during the manufacturing process, some tablets might break or not form correctly. These rejected tablets can't just be thrown away, that would be incredibly wasteful. Instead, they are collected and run through a hammer mill. The mill breaks the tablets back down into their constituent powder. This reclaimed powder can then be reprocessed, mixed back into a new batch, and compressed into perfect tablets, saving valuable materials and reducing waste. Hammer mills are also essential for processing raw plant materials in the production of herbal medicines. Things like dried roots, leaves, and bark need to be milled into a fine powder before their active components can be extracted or put into capsules. Beyond just powders, hammer mills are also used in wet granulation. A liquid binder is added to a powder mix to form a damp mass, which is then passed through a hammer mill with a special screen. The mill breaks up the wet mass into small, uniform granules. Every piece of science equipment has its strengths and weaknesses, and the hammer mill is no exception. Let's start with the good stuff, its merits. One of the biggest advantages is its speed. Hammer mills operate at very high speeds. They can process a large amount of material in a short amount of time, making them incredibly efficient for large-scale production. They are also quite versatile. Change the speed of the rotor, change the type of hammers, change the size of the screen. You can use the same machine to process many different types of materials to a wide range of particle sizes. Another huge plus is its simplicity and cost-effectiveness. The design is straightforward, making it easy to operate, clean, and maintain. However, it's not all perfect. The high-speed, high-impact action of the hammers generates a lot of heat. This can be a major problem for heat-sensitive drugs that can melt, degrade, or lose effectiveness. For these materials, special cooling systems might be needed. The intense action is also a problem with abrasive materials. Hammers and screens can wear out quickly. This leads to higher maintenance costs and potential contamination. Hammer mills also produce a lot of fine dust. This can lead to a less uniform particle size distribution compared to other mills. They can also be quite noisy. Despite these drawbacks, the hammer mill remains an indispensable tool. For many medical applications, the powerful, efficient hammer mill is the perfect choice to unlock the power hidden in a particle.